So, thank you for joining us here. Our first top 8 match, the 1 versus 8 matchup between Caleb Scherer and Richard Cox. Caleb Scherer started the tournament 7-0 yesterday, picked up losses in round 8 and 9, but those were his only losses of the tournament. He's undefeated today. He'll be on the play every match as he tries to take down that trophy with Storm. Richard, a 5-card hand. He had to mulligan twice, and we'll see what he's on.
Ooh.
It's Caracas, Ancient Tomb, Eldrazi Temple, Dismember, and Matter Reshaper. This is almost a mulligan to 4 in the matchup.
This is almost a mulligan to 0 in Legacy. Like, this hand just doesn't play against anybody, certainly not Storm.
Caleb's writing it down. Mentioned that I thought if Caleb won the first game, he could steal a post-sideboard game. Richard's going to need so much off the top for this to work.
Yeah, there's pressure to go for turn 1 if there's a Chalice, but against this hand, Caleb has time.
Go for your turn 5.
Yeah.
Fires up another Gitaxian Probe, does Caleb. That adds a second Storm, suggesting he might have a fast kill here.
Yeah, you generally don't need to look at the hand twice.
Yeah, unless you're trying to build Storm, in which case all systems are go. Land, Lion's Eye Diamond, and then a pass for Caleb.
Maybe his hand is just kind of 1 card away from going for it.
All right, he did an interesting thing here, as we see Richard make Eldrazi Temple. He had 2 copies of Lion's Eye Diamond. He made exactly 1 of them on the first turn.
Respecting Chalice for 0 off the top.
Yeah, respecting it some, but not, not enough to dump all of them.
Yeah, you still want to build your Storm on your combo turn.
Just Temple for Richard. That leaves his Dismember up. Now, Caleb doesn't play any creatures here in the main, so that's not going to do anything.
Nope.
I mean, he plays an Empty the Warrens. I guess that's not real.
No. You don't really want to dismember a Goblin.
So, second turn. Because of the time he has here, Caleb, he has the ability to take a safe combo line. With Storm and Legacy, though, a lot of times, unlike with Modern Storm, when you start comboing, there's not a question in your mind as to whether or not it's going to work. You just know. Caleb fires off Cabal Therapy, takes Matter Reshaper. We see the draw from Richard was City of Traders, so he is just mana and a Dismember as Caleb plays a land and passes.
And that's a really weak start from Caleb, actually.
Yeah, I believe he just has mana. This does give Richard the opportunity to top deck, and he may have hit a Thought-Knot Seer. And he does. That's a huge draw for Richard. So now we'll get our first look at Caleb's hand. He's got a Lotus Petal, a Duress, a Dark Ritual, and a Lion's Eye Diamond. He doesn't have a payoff spell yet. He's been waiting for one.
No, this hand is rough. It's going to be between the Dark Ritual and the Lion's Eye Diamond here. Obviously, you don't care about that Duress. Lotus Petal is less impactful than the other 2 spells.
So the Duress in Caleb's hand doesn't really do anything. Richard's going to just play everything he draws off the top.
Yeah, Caleb doesn't need to Duress that Dismember.
Yeah, we see for Caleb 5 mana in play. You see the Dark Ritual was taken. He has up to 9 mana. So what are the payoffs then that he needs to hit?
Well, not Rain of Filth, which he just drew off the top, but he's looking for his Infernal Tutor mostly.
Yeah, I suppose he could find Past in Flames. He has 2 Gitaxian Probes and hope to go off that way.
Ooh, that is dicey.
Yeah, I don't know how many turns he gets, though. He is down to 15.
This is another hit for Richard? Wow.
Wow. So what? Richard adds Reality Smasher to Thought-Knot Seer, hits Caleb to 6. Caleb has 1 draw left.
And I just don't think that Caleb can ad nauseum. A 6 is just not enough life.
No, here's Preordain. So he will fetch down to 5. No, certainly he can't ad nauseum, so he's going to have to go for a kill using different cards.
He could try to go for Tendrils the hard way. I don't know if he has enough material for that. He might need to build up for Goblins here.
Whatever, we'll see what if Caleb can put it together. One of the scariest parts of the Eldrazi deck is because it plays these 4 and 5 mana cards, it can top deck. So it has the ability to top deck just really powerful things. And we saw that just make for Richard turn 2 and 3. Here's Preordain for Scherer. Cards in his hand don't do anything. You see a Ritual and a Ritual. That's both. Those aren't going to work. This last card may be Caleb's last chance. Fetch land. That's not going to do it. It is Richard Cox winning the first game.
Yikes.
What was basically a mull to 4. Let's be real. Dismember's not a card.
Right.
And this is a huge beating for Caleb.
Yeah, Caleb just drew way too many discard spells, just no action.
Yeah, I mean, his hand had so much mana. It's really just waiting for that one payoff. When he keeps a hand like that, with 2 Gitaxian probes. I mean, he's going to keep it each time. He knows that he's missing a payoff piece, and if he doesn't find it, it's going to cost him the match. I think it's unfortunate because when you keep a hand like that misses, you know you're going to lose. It feels worse when you lose to a hand as bad as Richard's was.
Yep. You got to see it. He even got to Cabal Therapy, or he could have dressed if he saw Chalice of the Void, and then just lost a thought, not into reality, to smash her off the top. Wasn't able to assemble anything meaningful.
So Richard Cox has some pretty good plays out of the sideboard. 4 Leyline of the Void, 4 Therm of Amethyst, 2 Warping Whale, 2 Sorcerer Spyglass, 2 Ratchet Bomb, and 1 All Is Dust. We know Chalice of the Void is just great in this matchup, but he gets to add some very powerful cards.
Yeah, Thorn of Amethyst is going to be another kind of a lock piece that you can put in here. You can go for Leyline of the Void because sometimes there's a pass and play and kill. And there's enough cards that are bad in the main deck, you might reach for that. Warping Whale is reasonable. There's sometimes sorceries you can hit. It's not great, though. You can also reach for Ratchet Bomb in case you get emptied. It's not great, but it's fine.
Yeah, Ratchet Bomb, you could leave it on 0 and maybe hit some of these Petals and Lion's Eye Diamonds at inopportune times. I know it's not great, but there's a lot of stuff he needs to move out.
Right.
Now on Caleb's side, he has 3 Chrome Moxes, 3 Fatal Push, 2 Echoing Truth, 2 Hercule's Recall, 2 Chain of Vapor, a Cabal Therapy, a Defense Grid, and then that second copy of Tendrils of Agony.
This might be a matchup where when he's back on the draw in Game 3, you could reach for Chrome Mox to try to get ahead of Chalice of the Void or Thorn of Amethyst.
Okay.
On the play, I don't think you need to touch that one. Pretty into Echoing Truth and or Hercule's Recall and Chain of Vapor, some number of those bounce effects just to deal with all of these punishing prison elements.
Yeah, the 2 best cards, if they're Chalice of the Void and Sphere of Resistance, I mean, Hercule's Recall seems pretty good.
Yep.
You might see that play out. But now Caleb's going to have to work his way out of a hole for the player from St. Louis, Missouri. He was an invitational winner 2 years ago in Las Vegas. We now with Obs on Aggro and with Storm. But the elimination rounds, he ended up winning the finals in Standard. So of his 5 open top 8s, he has a top 8 with Storm, but he has not yet won one with Storm. Remember, did qualify as well for the Players' Championship that year. Mm-hmm. And you may also know him as the face of the Storm counter. He won that when he won his Invitational. Now, keep in mind, every time we have an Invitational, player gets their likeness on a card. The most recent one in Season 1 was Brian Koval. He was the 1/1 Monk token with prowess. Actually, Brian top 8ing last weekend in Legacy in Eternal Weekend. He was here this weekend, did not make it into top 8.
Yep. We saw some Monastery Mentor tokens this weekend. I think it's the first time I've seen this one generated.
Yeah, certainly of the formats we have here on the SCG Tour, Legacy is where you're most likely to see this token see play. It's also player in Vintage.
Right.
Now, your chances to get this are running out. This is free for Open and Classic participants on SCG Tour events in Season 2, which means if you weren't here this weekend, you still have a chance. In 3 weeks, we'll be in Baltimore for the Team Open. We'll be giving them away there, but you're going to want to head out and get these tokens for your set. If you cannot make it out to Baltimore, they also come with orders from StarCityGames.com of at least $5.
So Caleb's going to be on the play in Game 2. He's going to be looking for a hand that has a lot of the stuff that he had in Game 1, except instead of discard effects, he's going to need to have something like Ad Nauseum or Infernal Tutor. His hand was very close, just wasn't quite there.
I mean, and you have to think that this is just some percentages you miss. His hand had 2 Gitaxian probes. He did find a Preordained, so he had extra looks, but when your cantrips just don't make, there's only so much you can do. Mm-hmm. Looks like both players will be heading down to 6 cards.
I would estimate that both players mulliganing generally is going to benefit the Eldrazi deck. You know, the Eldrazi deck is specifically drawing 2 Chalice or Sphere to get those online quickly, but the issue is that you're just looking for those one card, maybe 2 specific cards in your opener, whereas the fewer cards that Caleb has available, the less he is able to actually win games.
Well, Storm's a deck that just capitalizes on a critical mass. You know, you need to count to a certain amount of mana every time it mulligans loses a card. Richard could keep a 2-card hand. You know, Ancient Tomb, Chalice of the Void.
Yep.
Could win.
Yeah.
I mean, you saw that last time. He won with a 4-card hand on the draw.
Technically 5.
Technically 5.
Technically 5.
I mean, I don't even know if I want to count Matter Reshaper as a card. How about a 3-card hand?
Sure.
That keep was 3 lands, Matter Reshaper, Dismember against Storm. And then he won.
Yep. Cast none of the spells in his opener.
Turn pre-game actions. Richard will put Leyline of the Void into play. Caleb says, hold on, we have to scry first. It looks like Caleb has boarded in the Chrome Mox. We see here Lion's Eye Diamond, Gataxian Probe, Chrome Mox, Ad Nauseam, and I believe Hurkyl's Recall and one land.
Looks like the Antiquities printing.
So it's interesting. He's got some mana available with Lion's Eye Diamond and Chrome Mox, but you can't actually cast Ad Nauseam with those.
Lion's Eye Diamond, yeah, can't help you cast a spell.
So Caleb will cast Probe. He sees Chalice of the Void and Thorn of Amethyst. The good news on Caleb's side, none of those lands make 2 mana. It's a Cavern of Souls and an Eldrazi Temple.
Yeah, not for the means of casting artifacts anyway. So Caleb's hand needs some help.
Right, I mean, this is going to be really tough for Richard, or for Caleb. Especially if Richard draws Ancient Tomb, this is a disaster.
Yeah.
Draws another Gataxian Probe. Caleb does have a Hurkyl's Recall, so even if Richard lands all of these hateful artifacts, Caleb may get a window to work with. I'm interested to see how many of these zeros he wants to drop. There's a chance that Richard Chalice is on 0 if Caleb doesn't.
Yeah, Chalice on 0. Pretty real line against Legacy Storm.
Yeah, Caleb, you see a Lotus Petal, Chrome Mox, and Lion's Eye Diamond. Okay, 3 zeros.
Yep.
Here's a land. And Lotus Petal, Lion's Eye Diamond. We'll see if he wants to make Chrome Mox. He'd have to imprint either Ad Nauseam or Hurkyl's Recall. Those are both cards that he'd like to hang on to.
Yeah.
And he'll just pass. If Richard wants to, then Chalice for 0. I suppose it's just a 1-for-1 from Caleb's side. You see Eldrazi Temple into Eldrazi Mimic for Richard, and he does Chalice on 0. Infernal Tutor the draw for Caleb. Okay.
That was pretty good. So the Chrome Mox in his hand is off, which is a little bit awkward.
Yeah.
He does not have another land drop. So he wouldn't have much in the way of floating mana after he casts Infernal Tutor.
Caleb just passes, and now the Thorn of Amethyst is in play. Caleb draws an island.
So now Caleb might actually be fine, because at the end of Richard's turn, he can go for that Hurkyl's Recall.
Okay.
Possibly set up on the next turn. The issue is he'd have to crack his Lotus Petal to cast it because of the Thorn.
Yeah, I'm interested to see when he makes that play. He's just taking 2 off Eldrazi Mimic.
Yeah, because he's down a mana, he probably just waits.
Yeah, I mean, there's always the worry if he makes that play that Richard will top deck Thought Not Seer and just smash this hand to bits.
Yeah.
2 more in. Caleb's down to 10. Has not pulled the trigger just yet. Does Richard have a follow-up? No, he does not. And Caleb deciding now might be the time.
With Richard not doing anything and access to 3 mana for Eldrazi spells, you might suss out that you're just going to lose to a Reality Smasher if it happens next turn, and that just says you have to go.
It's a bad news for Caleb that he has Ad Nauseam in his hand, actually. So he casts Hurkyl's Recall. That'll bounce all the cards to Richard, the artifacts to Richard's hand on the end step. But cracking this Lion's Eye Diamond would put their Ad Nauseam in the graveyard, and there's a Leyline of the Void in play.
Yeah.
So Caleb gets a turn, and decides he needs some help. Here's Brainstorm.
From 9, it's pretty hard to Ad Nauseam.
Ponder, Fetch Land, and Echoing Truth drawn from Caleb. Yeah.
A lot of blue cards here, which are good for setting up, but on the next turn, Richard can just redeploy Chalice, redeploy Thorn.
Yeah, it feels like Caleb has to do something this turn if possible. He's going to crack a Fetch Land after putting 2 cards back on the Brainstorm. Comboing through Thorn is really hard.
He could potentially just get down Chrome Mox here, leave up Echoing Truth, and then just have a turn where he wins through Chalice on 0 after bouncing the Thorn.
We have our first result over in the 4-5 matchup. That's the players that are in play for the chance to. The winner plays this one. We have John Goss on the 4-color Deathblade deck. A decisive 2-0 win over Benjamin Nicholas.
Caleb's going to go for Ponder. Still going to be doing some digging here.
Yeah, still looking for more. Lion's Eye Diamond, and another Hurkyl's Recall. There's some things to like here. If he had more life points, he could really make some waves with this Ad Nauseam. I don't know that this does enough, but Caleb likes it.
Lion's Eye Diamond makes so much mana.
Yeah. Here's Chrome Mox. He's going to imprint Duress. Okay, maybe he can just go off this turn. We see
He's
Storm's
cast
at
a few
3.
spells.
Yeah, it's cast Cantrip, Chrome Mox, Lion's Eye Diamond's the 4th spell. Okay. He has plenty of mana. Infernal Tutor. Looks like he put that ad nauseum away.
Yeah, he has enough mana to Infernal Tutor for Infernal Tutor.
Yeah. And Richard picked up Warping Whale. He counters the Infernal Tutor.
Well then.
And that's going to do it. Richard Cox, the 8th seed. He's a 2-0 winner with colorless Eldrazi. He finds the sideboard cards, the Thorn of Amethyst.
The Leyline of the Void, the Warping Whale, yeah, all that stuff's out of the sideboard. And game 1, Caleb, his deck just did not cooperate.